What if I told you that you didn't make the decision to watch this video today? What if I told you that many of the decisions that you think that you make every single day aren't actually made by you? That there are forces outside your control actively reshaping how you think, how you feel, what you believe? What if I told you that elements of your personality, even maybe your very identity itself, is being shaped by something else? You'd probably call me crazy. But the sad truth is, that's the reality of the world we live in today. We're losing agency, we're losing control over our own lives. And that's sad. So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you some ways that you can reclaim control over your own life, so you can start living the life that you want to live, not the life that someone or something thinks that you should be living. We live in a world where the digital environment doesn't just suggest content, it starts to shape our existence. The way we think, the way we feel. When we click through onto content, we're shown more and more of it until we start to believe that that's all that there is. And it starts to shape our identity and the way that we see the world. An algorithm is a useful tool, but when you actually look deeper, it has a scary, darker side. You need to be really careful to not let your life become controlled by the algorithm. I see algorithms like an invisible architect, controlling and creating the house that we're living in and unable to escape from. Think about an architect designing a house, drawing that floor plan. They put in walls, doors, windows. They essentially control the way that you will move through and utilize a space by how they design it. An algorithm is like that. But it doesn't create space for you based on what your future needs will be. It creates that space for you based on what your past behavior is. It's reaffirming your past, what's been before, not what will come in the future. And as you move through this space, it starts to show you the same thing over and over again because it believes that that's what you want. It replaces the walls in that imaginary house with mirrors, and you see yourself reflected back in this information that you're reading, information that you're consuming. And because we've become passive consumers, because we're letting the algorithm just run away and control our lives like this, we believe that that's a true reflection of our reality. We believe that that's truly us. That content we consume, those worldviews, that news, that information is what we believe too. We don't question it. We don't push ourselves. And as a result, we don't challenge ourselves and we don't grow. We become disengaged and we stay in a state of stasis, unchanging, and slowly disappearing out of our own lives because they're not our lives. They're the lives a machine has designed for us. It's really amazing just how quickly these algorithms operate. A few months ago, I set myself a challenge. I've been studying the Korean language for a few years now, and I thought what I would do for 1 month was not consume any English language content. Podcasts, music, variety shows, all of those things were going to be in Korean language only. So I started to do it, and I noticed a really interesting thing happened after just 1 day. All of a sudden, my feed started to be full of Korean language. And within the week, on some of my social media platforms, particularly YouTube, the English language stuff had disappeared completely. It was all Korean. Now look, this helped me in terms of helping to immerse me in the language, and for the social experiment it was working. But it showed me just how powerful this system is and how quickly it can take over and reshape those rooms in that imaginary house. This is your new reality. This is who you are. This is what you believe. And so I can imagine if that content was harmful or cautionary or scary, or I didn't want to see it, how damaging that could actually be to you. All of a sudden you're being shown this thing again and again and again until you believe that that's the reality. I call it the 3-click loop. In 3 clicks, it shapes your identity. That first click is about curiosity. Okay, this is a new topic. The algorithm starts to notice. Why are you looking here? And on that second click, it reinforces it. Yes, this is something that person is really interested in. The algorithm starts firing up, pushing more. And by the third click, you're immersed. It notes you as a data point and starts to serve that information up. So we need to be so careful. And I'm sure you've all experienced this. You could have clicked through on a couple of interesting articles and all of a sudden your feed's filled with a brand new series of information. As I said, this is a tool. This can be useful in certain circumstances, but left unchecked, which is how so many of us do it, it can be really dangerous because it floats away there unseen beneath the surface. So we get into the situation like I described at the beginning of this video, where you think you are in charge. You think you're making decisions. You think you're getting the complete picture, but you're not. It's why I often say we look at the world but never see it. We think we're seeing the reality. We think we're seeing the complete picture, the whole story, but we're not. We're inside our mirrored house that invisible architect has designed for us. They're controlling what we do, and we let them. Because the algorithm doesn't want you to be a nuanced human. It wants you to be a predictable data point. Because if you become a predictable data point, it's easy to sell to you. It's easy to serve up the right kind of ads, the ads that you're going to click through and buy from. And that at the end of the day is what an algorithm is about. It's what it's trying to do. But the problem with being a simple, plain, predictable data point is that you'll never be challenged. You'll never have the chance to see something unexpected, to be surprised. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you would know how much the power of surprise plays into a lot of my systems. It can truly change the way that you see the world, and that's the point. You need to be surprised, you need to be challenged, you need to see new things. It's how you experience the world, it's how you grow. So you need to reclaim agency, and that's what I'm going to hopefully do for you today in this video. I'm going to give you some tips in a minute. But firstly, I want you to just take a view of your life right now, and it's really simple to do. Have a look at the recommended tab or the explore function on any of these apps that are run by algorithms. Look at all the images, look at all the videos, the music that is suggested for you. Have a reflection and think deep down. Does this reflect who I really am? Does this reflect who I want to be? Am I embarrassed by what this looks like? Is it a true representation of my world or the real world or how I want to see the world? Because I'll be willing to bet the answer is no. And that means it's time to change. The number one thing we lose through disengaging and allowing the algorithm to run our life is presence. As I said earlier, we slowly fade out of our own lives when we're allowing the algorithm to run it for us. We can't continue to allow this to happen. We need to be present in our own lives to live our lives. You can't just observe our lives like a passive consumer, which is what we're becoming. You need to be present. You need to live your life. It's your life to live. So the most important thing you can do is reclaim your presence. And I don't want you to think of presence as some kind of mindfulness meditation, something new agey. It's not. It's actually engaging with the world without an intermediary, engaging with the now without that intermediary. And an algorithm is the ultimate intermediary. So we need to get that out of our lives and be present. Now, if you're looking for more ways to be present, I have a 30 Days of Presence video series on my channel, and it offers a daily technique, a daily tip that you can implement in your life, just small changes to take active steps towards becoming present again. Because for many of us, we've lived our lives on autopilot for so long that it's very difficult for us to become present again. So these tips in this video series can offer you a really clear way to get back towards that. And if this is something that you're really interested in doing, I'd encourage you to check out that series. Now I'm going to give you 3 techniques now for how you can reclaim your life from the algorithm. And the first of these is called the rollercoaster concept. I want you to imagine a roller coaster, and I also want you to think of a train and a train system. They're very similar in many ways. They both run on rails, They've got carriages. You get on at a station and they transport you from point A to point B. But with a roller coaster, the track is defined. You can't get off whenever you want. You can't plan your journey. You get off and get on at the start at the same point. It goes up and down and left and right, and all you can do is hang on. That's what algorithm content is. And that's how we spend most of our lives. You might not realize it, but we go into YouTube or we go into social media like Instagram and we just hold on. Click, 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 scroll, scroll, scroll. We're on that roller coaster, going round and round and round that same track over and over again. That's why there's no growth, because you're on that loop. Whereas if you think about a train and a train system, you can plan your route. You can get off on different tracks and change course. You can go where you want to go. You're in control. So I want you to think of that. And if you ever encounter the feeling that you're just holding on and you're being served up content after content and you're following that, I want you to use that roller coaster analogy as a way to remind you to pull back, to stop. By having that reminder, by having that strange sort of concept of the roller coaster to bring you back, I'm hoping it's going to make it easier for you to identify when you're in this situation. Because we need those little warning bells to remind us for presence, to remind us to step back from the algorithm. The second is the one-click rule. Now, this is something I try and abide by in several different instances in my life. When you're researching a topic, when you're looking into a new area, or particularly when you're looking at a news article, you want to know about something that's happened in the world. Try and do it in one click. Look at the article, watch the video, read about it, and then step out. Don't click through into more of the recommended articles, into more of the recommended videos. Read it and step out. If you want to know more information, if you want to dig deeper, start a new search, go back out, start again. Or better yet, click over onto in private browsing and look at it that way. Try and remove the ability for the algorithm to track those as part of what it will then start to create your identity around. Because I've seen this cause really big problems for some of my coaching clients. I had one client who was particularly afraid of flying, and there was a report about a plane accident. They looked into it, they clicked on 2 or 3 links, they watched a couple of documentaries, and then all of a sudden, their feed was flooded with images that were causing them distress. It made them feel like planes were crashing all the time. And we had to wind that back. So be aware of that one-click rule if you're looking into something that you know is outside of the realms of what you normally look into, because it can very quickly be seized on by the algorithm. Like I said before, that 3-click loop is really dangerous and it happens really fast. So try and remember this rule next time you're researching something. The third tip is to try and maintain analog mornings. That first 30 minutes of the morning is when your identity is at its most elastic. It's most pliable. So you want to retain that for yourself. You want to retain that for presence, for your own connection with the world around you. If you're straight into phones, if you're straight into devices, then you're straight into the algorithm. And at that time of day when you're most receptive, your guard is down and you'll start to click blindly, and a lot of the rules I've been talking about will go out the window, and you'll feed that algorithm more and more, and then it just perpetuates the control it has over your life. So maintain that morning period. Make it sacred just for you. Give yourself a bit of strength. Give yourself a foundation to start for the day so you can take more control back. If you're just straight back in, slave to the algorithm right away, you're going to find it much, much harder to pull back. Redesigning your life is not about getting away from technology. I've said this many times before in my other videos. Technology can help. It can be a tool, a really useful tool. But it's about re-engaging and changing the dynamic and the relationship with technology, with those things that control our life, the things that we let control our life. Whether that's your family or technology, it's actually about engaging with those things with agency. That's what's most important here. It's not about discarding them completely. So I really wanted to make that point. Be active in your own life. Be an active designer of it. It's your life. Nobody should be controlling it. Nobody should be writing it except you. And that's what I do with clients every single day. I work with them to actually reclaim agency over their life, to help them find direction again. Because I know it's very easy when you feel lost, when you feel directionless, to just continue on this cycle because it's safe, it feels comfortable. It releases dopamine, and that's the trick. But you have to pull back, find out where you are, and then start moving forward with active intent, with presence, with connection, so that you can create the life that you want to live. Now, if you want some more information about my systems, particularly the compass system, which can give you a great picture of where you are currently, I'll leave a link in the description below to my compass test. Fill it in and it gives you a great idea of where you are and where you could take active next steps towards to actually create your own life. Because you only get one life, and I want you to live the life that you want to live. It's really important. I don't want you looking back 5, 10, 15 years from now and wishing you'd done something different, wishing you'd lived life differently. But right now, by giving your life to the algorithm, that's exactly what you're doing. But thank you for watching the video today. Thank you for giving me your time. I'll see you again in the next video. Stay present, everyone.